important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.
Hi, this is Dr. Robert Cassar, and we're at Rancho de las Palmas, which is the Earthshift Project and Earthshift Products headquarters, and actually my house. This sanctuary that we really have put together in about 25 years of myself and a lot of different people to be able to bring you these shows today, because this place here was built for the show. And the show, of course, is a multinational, multifractional, multidimensional, means we talk about a lot of different things. One of the things we're going to talk about today is where you fit in on the food pyramid. And the food pyramid, as you can see, is a pyramid. And this pyramid has different levels. And remember, there's no judgment here. Everybody is at a level. You're doing the best that you know how to do, but once you find out there's ways to optimize your health and wellness, then you're going to want to say, I want to advance myself. I want to optimize myself. And this is the whole idea, is to find out that, going to school, when you start third grade, there's fourth grade. And when you go to fourth grade, you say there's fifth grade. And when you get finished through high school, you know that there's possibly maybe college for you, and even beyond that, professional school. Then, of course, the real school begins, and that's the school of what we call the outside world. So this is a school. It's a school of yourself. How would you like to join the largest clinical study of its kind? And that sounds a little weird. Let's talk about that again. How would you like to join the largest clinical study of its kind? And this is a study on you, on what happens to you when you find out that there's a way to be able to grow up maybe very rapidly. Even though you're an adult, remember, you're going to grow up here. It's called, the body is a temple and the mind is a device to be able to unscramble what we call reality. Our nervous system is an extension of what we feel, see, hear, and touch. So once you find out that there is a reality that really is not seen at the present time, and seen means that we're going to walk through several different layers, and each layer or membrane has a whole different set of rules. So, and we'll go over this a few times. This isn't something we can just brush upon and you can catch. You're going to see it from different levels and different fractals, and you're going to say, hey, you already talked about that. I know, but we're going to hit it at a different angle, a different fractal. It's like if I was looking at the front of you, and I could talk about everything I see from the front of you, but then I'm going to go to the side of you, and I'm going to talk about everything we see from the side, and then from the back of you, and then from the other side, because you may have a tattoo on this side you may have some other interesting thing that would be explainable from that fractal. So starting with the pyramid's very genius here. Remember, it's up to you to figure out where you fit in. I started just like you did and everybody did. We started in what's called the Standard American Diet. And what does that stand for? SAD. SAD. Once you find out that this level is 80% of everybody that you know, you'll see that the Standard American Diet is truly SAD. But if you're in it right now, remember, there's no judgment. You're doing the best that you know how to do. And that's the best part of this. See, once you find out that there's a possibility, a probability, and a reality to go to the next ring, then why wouldn't you? Remember, the next ring's not harder. It's not slower. It's not dumbed down. It's actually faster, quicker, smarter, easier, economical, and efficient. So I mean, what would be the reason why you wouldn't want to, like, 3rd grade? Why wouldn't you want to go to 4th grade? And then when you're finished with 4th grade, you'll know that the 3rd grade was sort of like little school. You're playing dodgeball. You're doing all the things that you had a lot of fun in 3rd grade. Remember, the standard American diet, I had a lot of fun in. I ate at every restaurant there was, and I don't care which ones you talk about. And we'll name a few of the names. Taco Bell, McDonald's, Carl's Jr., everything that you could watch on TV and say, come and try my 10 tacos for $1. Now, remember, your life is an extension of your reality. So if your nervous system is at a low-level vibration, that would mean that the standard American diet would feed you in a way that would be totally different. Let's say if your reality, your nervous system, your electrical capacity, your magnetic capacity is much higher than the standard American diet, would not give you the reality that we call power. Part of what the largest clinical study of its kind is take back your power now. I mean, this is the idea. Take back your power now is only to know that your body is a definite battery. It's a battery we call a direct current battery or a DC current battery. The earth and everything that's in nature runs off of direct current. It doesn't run off of synthetic current or called fragmented current. It runs off of the natural battery we call life. And everything in nature, and I call, just so you know, nature is what I call God. And we're not stepping on anybody's toes here, but nature is really what we call something that we really can't explain, and we are a part of that nature. Now, let's get to the standard American diet. Do you know that 80% of the population of the United States lives in this base of the pyramid? You can see the base is in a color of red. And if we know that there's actually 5 colors, and we'll get into this: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and that's it. In order to get the last 2 colors, because we've heard there's 7 colors, but in order to really get the last 2 colors, you have to take red and blue, and you have to overlap those 2 together to get the 2 last prismatic lights. So we have 5 colors, red, and the standard American diet is in the red. And if we follow it on this side of on the chart here, and this chart, of course, is called the pyramid of energy, vibration, and consciousness. Now, to get this is not an easy pyramid to explain, but it is at the same time very easy to explain. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to attack this at different levels, because as we unfold this idea, you're going to be able to now pick and choose where you're at. And if you know that you're at this level and you say, I would like to feel and experience the higher rings of consciousness or the higher rings of health, wealth, and this other thing called happiness. So when we look and see the standard American diet is 80% of the population, and remember, let's go through some of the diseases of the 80% of this category. And if we go across this category, you'll see that these little rings here, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and indigo, are parts of an energy system that our body, remember, is a battery. And so the lower sectional battery is what we call the red area. This is orange, yellow, green is the heart, blue, indigo, and violet. And each one of these energy patterns is a whole different scale of who you are, or who you maybe think you are. Remember when you were 8 years old, you believed in the Santa Claus tale, the Easter Bunny tale, the Tooth Fairy, okay? All these tales, you would bet anything that they were true, remember that? And then once you find out that these are possibly fictional stories, then you felt a little weird, didn't you? And this is how you're going to feel here, because your truth that you have right now is going to be shattered once you be able to really see this idea. So if you're happy where you're at, then I wouldn't watch any further, because this is going to shatter the way you really think, you feel, you hear, and you touch, because you're going to expand your nervous system. Remember, this machine is genius. How do you open and close your hands? These are different ideas. Remember, we're jumping around a little bit, but this is my style a little bit, is to attack it from different areas, like I said, and really get down to that you really see this understanding now, and then once you see it, you'll want to play the game. Now, The standard American diet, remember, is 80% of the population. And if we go through, let's go through some of the diseases. 75 million people in the United States of America, which is approximately 275 million people here, 75 million of them have diabetes. 75 million. I mean, that's an incredible number to think that a third of course, your population or so has this disease. Now, 80% of the population, that's 80% now, it's even more than diabetic, is 15 pounds plus toxic or overweight. Now, 15 pounds toxic or overweight, that's a big number. That means 80% of the people have this yeast, mold, and fungus, this situation that grows on the body. And we call that body fat, and we'll get into that later on too. Now, we know that there's 1 out of 40 children have autism. And autism is some form of a irregular nervous system anomaly, where the children or even adults have a problem where their neural system, remember, the nervous system is an extension of who you are. And once you find that out, you'll say, who controls the nervous system? Remember, who runs the show? Controls a lot of consciousness or a lot of people. That's another outside frame. We're going to say who controls your show right now is you. So you're going to figure out where you want to be by the different levels of consciousness or the different levels of energy. Remember, each of these levels are energy, and each of the levels correspond to a different amount of energy that you be able to, your eyes when you were 3 years old. There's an old Indian saying. This one of my friends is an elderly man from India, and every time he says something that's really plausible to think about, he says, "Isn't it so?" He goes, "Isn't it so?"